Philly Take Nation, what is good? We have finally reached the All-Star break, and honestly, I think we all need a break from the team at this point after they got routed by 49 points by the Knicks last night. It was an embarrassment. By the time the game tipped off, they were like, yeah, we're cool, we're good, and there was no effort whatsoever. So a bad note to go into the break on, but I think it's much needed. And today we're going to try to sum up the good and bad overall of this roller coaster season. We're going to talk about what they need to change going into this last part of the season to get back on track. And you asked for it, I deliver my official buyout candidate list. So we will take a look at that. Stay tuned in later in the video. And we're going to assign a grade to every player on the team here in the midseason review. All that and more coming up on Philly Take with RB. But welcome into the show. Tyrese Maxey puts it perfectly last night. He says the struggles without Joel Embiid recently are this, quote, "It's weird because you got to play multiple different ways. A lot of times he sits out. It's on back-to-backs. It's hard." To me, this is kind of like a cry for help from Tyrese Maxey. He's saying, look, man, I've played like 39 minutes a game all season long. I'm exhausted. I mean, I think Maxey needs the break more than anybody. But this encapsulates the Sixers season so far because it's been like, it's been all over the place, you know? It's been like everywhere and nowhere. And Joel's on the floor, then he's not. Then PG's on the floor, then he's suspended. Maxey and VJ are playing one way, and they're playing 100 miles an hour. They're looking amazing. Joel didn't look that good. Then Joel returns to MVP form, and then Tyrese Maxey's now struggling, and VJ struggling. It's been crazy, man. It's really hard to sum this team up sometimes. They really go all the way back in, then they frustrate you. Then a couple games go by, they really back in. It's been an absolute wild season. But the craziest part of it is the trade deadline where, as I said a few days ago, the Sixers literally told us that their main priority is not trying to contend and win it all, and they disrespected Joel Embiid by trading Jared McCain and not going out to get anybody else. Now, this is probably the last time I'm going to talk about this, but I just think it's hilarious at this point. Like, all you can do is laugh because it's so sickening. It's so annoying. What else do we say? Last night, the Thunder bench, Isaiah Joe, 21 points, 6 threes. Jared McCain, 12 points, 5 of 8 from the field, and 2 threes. McCain has scored more points in each consecutive game with OKC so far, so much to the point where his coach, Mark Daigneault, says he's joining a team that has had success together and has a lot of continuity. It looks like he has been here. It's a credit to the fact that he is confident and aggressive and also playing inside of what we do. So McCain's a natural over there in OKC. Sixers should not have given up on him, and it was ridiculous. It was to duck the tax, and they did not go out and upgrade the team. The fact that there are still people out there telling me that there is some alternate motive here or they have another plan, no, they don't. They literally spit in Joel Embiid's face, and when the team had a lot of momentum, by the way, I said this could be a momentum killer. You had the Paul George suspension and then the Jared McCain trade, and he was well liked around the locker room. And you see the energy of the team the last few games. So no, I don't think it's a coincidence. And obviously Joel Embiid being out hurts. And, you know, if McCain was on the team the last couple games, did they win? Probably not. But, you know, things like this can really alter the trajectory of your season. So we'll see what happens there, man. But nonetheless, I mean, we look at the Eastern Conference so far this season, and I think you can argue that it is the most wide open it's been in a while. Now, I do want to say, I never pictured the Sixers being like the top team in the East or the second seed or whatever. I have reiterated the same thing all year, which is if the team is healthy and the guys are on the floor playing, they can gain momentum. They can be dangerous in a playoff series. I still think that that stands because look at the 10-game stretch before PG got suspended and Joel was playing every game. The team looked really damn good. They were like 7 or 8 out of 10. They were clicking on all cylinders. Yeah, they were funneling everything through Joel Embiid ball, but it was working. They were dominating. But now, Paul George gets suspended. They make a trade at the deadline, and they're back and forth. That's literally how this season has gone. If you have not watched any games this year, and you're thinking, okay, let me see what I can find out about this season. They'll win 3 games, and then they'll come back and lose to a couple teams that they should beat. Then they'll have these big monumental wins, and they'll come back and lose and disappoint you. It's literally been up and down, up and down. Then one game Joel's not playing. They announce it right before the game. And then now Quentin Grimes is sick. And like, there's just so many things. It has not been linear. by any means. It has been the absolute opposite. Like, if you looked at this season on a graph, all things considered, it would just be an insane display. So anyway, 76ers sit at the 6th seed right now. They are right above the play-in. The Detroit Pistons look really damn good. Like, they're tough at this point. I think they might come out of the East. Like I've said, yeah, the youth is there. We'll see how they can, go into the playoff series. But JB Bickerstaff has those boys on top of it. Boston now has Jason Tatum starting to practice, which is dangerous. And the Knicks went out and made a couple additions. And oh, by the way, we're going to talk about buyouts later. Everybody said, should the Sixers go get Jeremy Sohan, former first-round pick who got waived by the Spurs? Well, they just announced that the Knicks got him. So, unfortunately, that's kind of where we sit. And oh, by the way, by the time you're listening to this episode or watching, I'll probably be away on a mini vacay. So if anything happens between now and the time you hear this, just keep that in mind. But anyway, we continue with the Cavs, who are now winning some games with James Harden. You see the trend here, man? Every team went out and upgraded at the deadline and got better. And the Sixers stayed right where they were. Did they not think Joel was going to be healthy in the playoffs, and that's why they didn't do this? It's hard for me to believe that, because with the way Joel was playing and the way Maxey's been playing, this feels like maybe your last shot with the two of them as a duo like that at full health. So it's just really disappointing. And a lot of people are saying, yeah, they should just sell the team. Yeah, I mean, it's easier said than done, man. It's hard to make these things happen. I wish it would, but we'll see how it goes. And you got teams like Charlotte who are on fire. They had won like 8 or 9 in a row, I think. Sixers better watch out. They better try to stay afloat here, because things are about to get a little bit tougher in the next part of the season. Now, before we talk about buyouts and all that, I just want to go and talk about the team a little bit. We'll assign our grades later on. Tyrese Maxey has had pretty close to like an MVP caliber season. The last 2 to 3 weeks he has been down, and I credit that directly to him playing 40 to 45 minutes a game over the first 25 games. There was a lot of games, a lot of back-to-backs where Maxey and VJ would have to play 40 minutes, 45 one night. Then they would come out, do the same thing the next night. Maxey would drop 42, then he would drop 39 the next night, and everybody was like, wow, what a scene, what a show. But I always did say, this is going to catch up to them, and here it is, right? Like, Maxey and VJ desperately need a break. VJ's playing more games, more minutes, I mean, times 10 what he did last year in college, and he's a rookie, So unfortunately, due to the ownership not adding to the team, guys getting injured, being sick, you've put a lot of burden on these guys. Now, I still think Maxey's played really well. VJ's played really well. Joel in this last quarter of the season has been absolutely phenomenal. Paul George's defense, like, again, when we've seen the team come together and actually play, which is the exact vision that they had last summer in July in 2024, then yeah, they can actually do that. They can actually play well. But if healthy, that's always the saying. That's always been the slogan. So that's really how I feel. I think they've gotten some good contributions from role players as well. The Dominic Barlow's on the two-way now, the standard. Trendon Watford is starting to play a little better lately. Quentin Grimes, in my opinion, has been a bit of a disappointment. I mean, he came out first couple weeks, looked amazing, looked like he was going to be a 6th Man of the Year candidate, and he's kind of fallen off, and they need that guard punch off the bench. McCain was finally starting to find his bearings, and then they trade him. Drummond was top 10 in rebounding for a while. I don't know if he still is, but now he doesn't play. They're trying to get Bona molded into form. Just a lot of questionable decisions, and that brings me to Nick Nurse, who I think has done an up and down job. Like, I would put him smack dead in the middle. His hands have been tied ever since he's come here, right? Those first couple months when he was here, the Sixers were playing really well till Joel got injured. And ever since then, he's had to kind of learn how to manage without these guys on the floor, So it's been very, very tricky. And I think it's almost to the point now where he's tried to experiment so much that he almost forgets where reality is and how to actually coach the team with superstars. So it's a really tough situation. He's had to go up there and answer questions that he doesn't know the answer to. And then he comes out on the floor, and sometimes he just does wild things from a coaching perspective. There's certain things that this team has not figured out yet. And that takes me to my 2 things that I will be looking for in the next part of the season, which I feel like I'm going crazy. I've said all season, every post-game show I say, the third quarter is an abomination. I mean, I'm almost lost for words at this point for how bad this team is in the third quarter. The Sixers have the second worst net rating in third quarters ever since the stat started to be tracked back in 1996. I mean, that's insane. The Sixers are absolutely horrible in the third quarters. I don't know what the answer is at this point. You know, keep a different rotation out there, keep them on the floor during halftime, take away their phones. I don't know. I really don't know the answer. Nick Nurse has to figure it out. I've never seen a team this bad in the third quarter. And on top of that, the other thing is the defense. I think lately we've seen it very much exposed. There's been games this year where they lose by like 50 to the Hornets, the Knicks, 44 to the Magic. And I see the same defensive lapses over and over again. I think you have guys on this team that play great individual defense. I think some guys have taken a step up on defense this year. But as a team, it feels like Nick Nurse is trying to put a square peg into a round hole. Like he's trying to run the Raptors 2019 defense with a team that is not that switchable, with Joel, who, despite looking more nimble, is still very slow compared to other centers, is not really a stretch the floor type of big anymore, or really has ever been. And, you know, the Sixers do like these soft traps and blitzes, or they'll switch to zone, and all it takes is a couple swing passes around the perimeter, and these guys end up with open threes every time, and you can see the team look physically lost. Like a team that is supposed to be a contender or be really good should not be this lost on defense, right? And especially with the talent that you have with Oubre, PG, VJ, etc. So it is very puzzling at times. And if we can see these corrections, why can't the coaching staff see it? Those are my main things in terms of Nick Nurse and what I've seen so far. So I want you to let me know your thoughts down below, or if you're listening on podcast platforms, how do you feel about this team so far during the season? Who do you want to see, you know, emerge and do more? Who do you want to see less from? Who's been a disappointment? Give me all your thoughts down below. On the other side, I'm going to tell you guys how they can finally upgrade this team with the buyout market. You guys have been waiting for my list, but before I do that, got to give a shout out to the partner of our show and our game day live show all season long, and that is National University. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't want to get schooled like the Sixers, you want to do the schooling, you got to check out National University. They are a private nonprofit accredited university in the U.S. with over 50,000 students and 150 degree programs. They offer 4 and 8-week online courses that help you balance work life and school. You get to start sooner and finish faster with NU. And they're not like other colleges where you have to go in person every day. They understand that work-life balance, that school balance. That's why they design their programs that way. And right now, for a limited time until the end of March, you can apply for the Year of You scholarship that they're offering, which will grant students up to $6,000 annually towards a bachelor's or master's degree. So if you're juggling that full-time job or raising a family or whatever it is, and you want to go back to school and get that promotion and that next degree, check out National University. They are the best with online schooling, the most comprehensive degree programs in the nation for working and non-traditional students. Click our link down in the description and check them out. And shout out to National University, a proud partner of Philly Take with RB. Ladies and gentlemen, how did the Sixers upgrade this team? Well, here are some of the candidates that have been named. Now, this list is like 5 days old. So some of these guys are off the list, right? Cam Thomas, who, by the way, was insane in Milwaukee the other night. Then you have guys like Mike Conley, who went back to Minnesota. So the list is dwindling. Now Jeremy Sohan goes to the New York Knicks. So who should the Sixers get? I've heard a lot of Lonzo Ball. In my opinion, in the year 2026, I don't think Lonzo has anything left in the tank. I personally would not go that way. Maybe you disagree, let me know. But here are my top 5 candidates for the 76ers. And just to be clear, I don't think a buyout move is swinging the pendulum far enough. Like the buyouts usually don't amount to that much, but the Sixers need help. They need depth. So the first guy that they should target is Haywood Highsmith. He is a former 76er. You might remember him before he started to make a career of himself in Miami. He is a defensive-minded wing. He has not played all season with the Brooklyn Nets. He was getting ready to make his return soon. He got waived, and he was really good over there in Miami. He's not some kind of alpha on the offense. He doesn't need to dribble the basketball. Give him the ball. He can do a couple dribble moves, pull up, bang from the mid-range. And he's, like I said, he's a versatile, switchable wing, can guard probably 3 positions. And while Paul George is out, I think he'd be a great replacement on a very cheap deal. And I think he just brings a little more athleticism to the team. And it would be nice to have him back in Philadelphia. Averages 6.5 points a game the last time we saw him in Miami. And for his career, he shot above 37% from 3. So he is very capable of knocking down shots from the corner, and he can keep the defense honest a little bit. The next guy I think they should look at, by the way, no particular order here, just in case you think I'm ranking these guys. Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony got traded to the Phoenix Suns. We do expect him to be waived. Former first-round pick by the Orlando Magic, and he was with Milwaukee a little bit this year. Cole Anthony has had a very up-and-down career. I still like his game. I think when he gets hot, he can really score in bunches off the bench. He has a bag. Like, you've seen it before. The problem is he's like every other role player off the bench. He gets hot and cold. But if you look at his numbers, right? 3-point percentage, a little bit underwhelming, shooting 34% for his career. But go back to his first couple years. He averaged 16 points a game with Orlando, 13 the next year. I still think this guy has a little bit of game left in him. I think he competes on the defensive end. Decent rebounder for his size. I like Cole Anthony. And if the Sixers still need another guard and there's nobody left, why not go and bring Cole Anthony back once he gets waived by the Phoenix Suns? The next guy is Chris Middleton, who is currently on the Mavericks. I do expect him to get released into the buyout. We all know Chris Middleton, right? Milwaukee Bucks champion, was kind of the guy under the shadows all the time to Giannis and Drew Holiday. But at this point in his career, he's 34 years old. He was playing with the Washington Wizards. He's had a pretty good career, but he's very slowed down. He's been injured a lot. He can't really defend that well anymore. He can hold his own. He's probably more of like a small ball 4 at this point. But a couple things from Chris Middleton's game are what the Sixers need right now. Number 1, they need dribble drive, creation ability in the mid-range game. I think they need somebody to balance out Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid while Paul George is not here. And I think Middleton has done it long enough in the NBA. He has that experience, and he just knows how to play the game. He's a vet, And with Washington this year, despite limited opportunity, he was only playing like 20 minutes a game. He was averaging 10 points a game. For his career, he shot 38.5% from 3. He can set up offense, find his teammates. Like I said, he's a shell of himself, but he's better than, a 20-year-old that has no experience, and Middleton knows how to manipulate the game a little bit. So I would bring him in temporarily while Paul George is out, and I think Middleton can, eat up some minutes for the Sixers. Give him a chunk of minutes, give him a few buckets here and there, and just kind of, again, be a placeholder for this team. Number 4 is George Niang. I know everybody's reaction. Oh, you're crazy. Don't bring this guy back. He hasn't played all season with a foot injury. But this is more of a vibes thing than anything. I think they need toughness. I think they need a dog on the bench. And I like George Niang. I like Niang from a guy that can just space the floor, doesn't give a damn about anything, and he's going to rough you up. If it's Ben Simmons, he's going to talk smack right in your face, And I think the Sixers need more forward depth. And if George Niang is healthy and can still hit threes, he competes on the defensive end. I'm not going to say he's good, but he gives 100% effort. I think the Sixers need a guy like that, a guy who's looking to extend his career and save himself. And, maybe the Sixers could give him one more shot. And, everybody would love the minivan thing coming back. So George Niang is the 4th guy. And last but not least, DeMar DeRozan. I know what you're thinking. He's not a free agent. I know. But right now, we are seeing an insane tankathon, a very stacked draft class. Teams are purposely tanking. They are admitting it. Will they get in trouble like the 76ers? No, because apparently it's only the Sixers that do bad, which is crazy. Like, people are saying, yeah, the Sixers got rewarded with VJ Edgecombe last year. That's a joke. The Sixers' star players were hurt the entire season, so they had no other choice but to sit everybody, especially when Maxey hurt his thumb. So it's just insane discourse out there right now. But anyway, the Kings are tanking. I think they're going to get rid of DeRozan so that they can just be as bad as possible and give themselves an opportunity to get a top 5 pick. So if they get rid of DeRozan, this is the perfect complement for Maxey and Embiid right now. Can't hit the 3, but boy, is he a mid-range killer. can do it on both sides of the ball, still competes at a high level, 36 years old, averaging 18 points a game. There was a clip the other night where he got so mad about the Kings getting blown out, I think, or something, and he threw a water bottle down at the ground and was just so mad. I love that competitive nature. We've always talked about DeRozan as a potential fit on the Sixers. I would bring him here if he gets waived. Absolutely. Like, do whatever it takes to get that done. So those are my 5 buyout candidates. Give me your thoughts on these guys and any others down in the comment section. To wind out this video and wrap it up, I want to give a grade to every 76ers player on the roster this season. Now, I do want to highlight that these grades are pretty much based on 3 things. Number 1, performance this season. 2, availability. And 3, their contribution to the team overall and winning. So we'll start with Tyrese Maxey. I think he gets an A. Maxey absolutely carried this franchise early in the season. And when guys were not playing, when guys were out, he was playing above 40 minutes a game. He was looking like a pure MVP candidate. I think he's elevated his game in every way. He has really taken that leap. And despite being exhausted the last few weeks, he's taken strides on both sides of the ball this season. And without him, I do not know where they would be. So Maxey gets an A in my books this season so far. Joel Embiid is second. I'm going to give Joel Embiid a B+. The first part of the season was shaky, but this last quarter, 15, 20, 25 games, he's been phenomenal. He looks like 2023 MVP Joel, just off the charts, and he's back. Now, again, his availability is a lingering issue. He'll probably never play a back-to-back, which sucks. But overall, based on, I guess, the switch that we saw with this team that got flipped and how they're playing and pretty much funneling everything through Joel, it's a miracle that he's back at this point. I'm really happy for him. And I think he's done an incredible job this season. The third guy is VJ Edgecombe, and I'm going to give VJ a B for this season. I think he has been phenomenal as a rookie. He's top 3 in most statistical categories for rookies. And coming into the NBA is always, just an insane challenge, but he's done a really good job. He's been incredible in the clutch, some of the best numbers in the NBA, and he's had a bunch of highlight moments. I think VJ has had kind of phases this season, where he's really been one of the guys, and then other times where we want to see him be more aggressive. We want him to be integrated into the offense. He's been healthy pretty much all season long. So I think VJ's done a phenomenal job on both sides of the ball, and I would hope that whether it's next year, the year after, or maybe even the end of this season, they continue to give him more opportunities and let him evolve to be the guy, because we have seen flashes of star potential. The next guy we'll talk about is Paul George. I'm going to give PG a C on the season. The reason I say that is because I think his defense has really helped this team out. He's been the best perimeter defender by far, and you can feel the impact. Now, on the offensive side, he's still pretty much disappointing. He is averaging 16 points a game. He's shooting about 38% from 3, but we haven't seen him initiate, take over more when the team needs him, right? The burden has really all been on Maxey and Embiid and VJ at times. And I think, there's games where PG sits out and we're wondering why. Like, why isn't he on the floor? Is it more of like injury management, or what is the case? And then also the suspension, I think, really has hit the team hard, and the momentum has kind of been lost since that. So I would put PG right in the middle at a C. Kelly Oubre, I think it's a C-. He started off this season on a tear. He looked like that scorer that the Sixers needed, a 4th option who could really just get downhill, get to the rim, physical, love the grittiness, love the vibes. But then he had, again, another injury. He also, has come back from that and has not played well. Sometimes makes really bad decisions. His defense helps keep this team afloat as well. And I get it. He's a role player, right? So you have to take all this into account. But I think Kelly deserves a C- for this season. Andre Drummond, I'm going to give a C- as well. That might be a little bit high according to other lists, but I think Andre Drummond, when given the opportunity, has done what this team has needed. Fill some of those backup minutes, start for a bunch of games when Joel Embiid was out. And, with how Adem Bona's looked, I mean, if they didn't have Drummond, where would this team be, right? Like, Drummond has been a top 10, 15 rebounder in the NBA this year, but unfortunately the team has given up on him, and, he does get a little bit wonky sometimes and makes crazy plays. Dominic Barlow gets a B- for me, and I know, whoa, that's a high grade, but when you look at what Barlow was supposed to be as a two-way guy and what he has performed as, Barlow has been a big surprise this season, and I think it's just so refreshing for the Sixers to finally have a power forward that can get their hands dirty, do the little things. Yeah, he has to improve. Yeah, he has to get better, but he's still in his early 20s, and I think he has a really bright future with this team, and it's been nice to see a power forward that, again, can just complement the way Joel Embiid plays so well. Trendon Watford and Quentin Grimes both get D pluses for me. They have been a bit underwhelming. Watford has gotten better as of late. Grimes started off the season on a tear, but they've just been other guys when the Sixers really need them to be, beneficial difference makers. If those guys could elevate and step their game up a bit, I think the Sixers could even be in a better position right now. Jabari Walker gets a D. We haven't really seen a lot of him. I wish they would have converted his contract to a standard, but seems like he'll probably be in the G League for the rest of the season or wherever else he goes. Adem Bona, D-. I thought we were going to come into this season with Bona shooting threes and really developing that offensive game, right? He played overseas in the summer. We were all hype. He just has not really developed his game. Still an athletic guy that can jump out of the gym, pretty solid on the defensive end, but he just needs to learn a lot more. He needs more time and experience, I think, and right now the Sixers need a guy who can help them win immediately. Same kind of thing with Justin Edwards. We saw flashes last season, and he really just has not been a part of the rotation this year, so I think he gets a D- as well. And last but not least, Kyle Lowry and Eric Gordon both get Fs. I mean, they're here just as assistant coaches, mentors, whatever else they tried to sell us on. But Gordon is gone. Lowry has had to play a few minutes because he was forced to based on the depth of the team, but he's more of an assistant coach than anything and has not impacted any type of winning. And Janai Broom also gets an F just because I think he's a developmental player that should be in the G League. And he was a second-round pick, and the Sixers could really use a guy that could eat some minutes off the bench, and he just can't do it right now. Last but not least, Nick Nurse gets a C, like I said earlier, smack dab in the middle. He has been dealt a very tough hand. I think there's things he does well, but also some decisions that have you thinking, what are we doing right here? And also you have to motivate the team and, get them ready to play and not get blown out by 50 points on several occasions. So at the end of the day, that is where we sit heading into this second part of the season. I know, an extended episode, but wanted to give you all my thoughts before I depart for a bit and really just kind of, express how I'm feeling about this season. I do think if everybody gets back on the floor and is healthy, they, can be competitive. I really think the trade deadline was a failure and really just a slap in the face of Joel Embiid. So now it's going to require these players that are already doing a lot to do even more. We'll see how the Sixers can battle, maybe fly under the radar. Going to be an interesting rest of the season. Give me all of your thoughts down below. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That being said, I will catch you on the next one. Peace.